Alright, what's up guys? So in this video I want to actually go through the motions of showing you how to set up some of these bid inputs and really focus on driving these core concepts home actually in Apex. So to start out with, we're going to be focused on using the SKU dashboard and bid override table, getting a better understanding of this precedence here and how important it is. I'm actually going to start out with this process here where I'm using the add insight tiles to look at my cost per click and conversion rates. We're going to pick off just probably one or two examples and actually set up these inputs for the Apex bid algorithm. We'll take a quick look at the settings here for some of our custom bulk filters and stoptimizer limits, and I'll run through an example again of using the stoptimizer, as well as we'll use these bulk filters to find a few well-performing targets, and we'll put them on the bid override table and just show you how to start using that. And that's with these more aggressive settings here that we talked about in the previous video. And then I probably won't go into the daily metrics report. I've got another video on this, but just know that this is one that you'd want to look at a couple times per week. If you're not doing that, definitely monthly, just to make sure you don't have anything that is really going in the wrong direction, or you may have stuff that's really working well. Recommend the orders version of this and then the spend version of this at least once per week to take a look at. And I found a lot of things, like especially there's ways you can actually filter this even further by SKU, and you'll maybe see that you'll have a SKU doing very, very well, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, crap, what happened? Well, you can just hop over here, filter it by the SKU, and then see in the past 30 days, just did a really quick bird's eye view what's going on. All right, so hopping back here, let's start off with phase one, and let's go look at in Apex our account here. So we've got a set of demo SKUs that are imported into the SKU dashboard. You can see I've already kind of got some random numbers in here. You're not going to worry about those. I can actually I'll just delete these for now. All right, and then we'll be focused on this main row here. One thing you can do, go up to Apex and do products, calculate profits. This is actually, if you've imported your fee preview report, going to pull in your current information that Amazon's telling you fee-wise. And it's going to have a default landed cost here, just probably 25% of your sale price. You can override that. But what we're looking for is just kind of get an idea of what our gross margin is, and that's another term for from the ad speak is your break-even ACOS. So know that is kind of the goal ACOS. Anything less than that we can keep our PPC, we're actually going to be profitable with. So we can actually just hit that little plus, and that's going to minimize that. Just know that that's there. But the first step you're going to actually want to do is head over to Add Insights, and we're going to do Tile 1, and let's look at our cost per clicks. This is just going to take a couple seconds to compile all the information. So you can see I already had one made here. The color codes are kind of broken up, usually spend related ones. If you do that in the Add Insight Tile 2, it looks a little bit better. And then your conversions or order style over here, but it looks like I've already got these set up, so I don't need to worry about that. But you would just go up here. I would do, actually for this process, I'd do Tile 2 and then do conversion rate. And then for Tile 3, I would do, or I'm sorry, Tile 2 is CPC, which we've already got. And then Tile 3 is conversion rate, which is over here. So this was usually the one I'd maybe do like ACOS, or there's some other pretty nice ones too that you can look at on a weekly basis. But what I'm focused mainly on here is this guy, the exact kind of CPCs that I'm converting at. If this is a new product, obviously I'm not going to have these if I don't already have established PPC campaigns, but the idea here is you've already been running some ads on these SKUs and you can get an idea what you're converting at. So you would basically want to take this for each SKU and head back over to your SKU dashboard, and you could maybe put two tabs side by side so you could quickly get the information. But if you go back to the slides here that you can find in the members area and go to this slide is kind of a summary of what we're looking for. So we're looking at these numbers here, and then we're also wanting to know, is this a high converting SKU or is it a low converting SKU? The threshold we kind of stick there is about 8% conversion rate. Let's do SKU number 1. All right, so 2%. So this guy's not doing very well on the conversion rate side. So he's going to be less than 8%, but he's converting his exact match at 65 cents. All right, so that's going to be, if we go back to our slides, is going to be the second case here because it's less than or equal to 8%. So for this guy, our number here is going to be 65 cents. All right, so that's going to be 65 cents, and we're just going to go down through. We know our target ACOS for him, so I'll just bounce back and forth on these slides. All right, so remember 65 cents. That's the one thing we're going to have to remember, and it's skew 1. So we're going to go back here and find skew 1. We can unhide this to see what our ACOS is. So 43% is our gross margin. All right, and let me actually put this side by side. So target ACOS was 43 cents, but we see here that for the more conservative, we want to take our break-even ACOS divided by 2. So it's going to be 43 divided by 2 is about 22%. So I'm just going to set it at 22. And the low bid's 0.05. Max bid, you're going to want to do your cost per click, which was 63. Divided by 2 is 31, so let's say 32 cents. High ACOS is going to be your break even divided by 2, so that's going to be 43 divided by 2 is about 22 as well. And mid is the same thing, so we don't leave a range there for this scenario. Increase by, we recommend about 15%. And the rest is going to be pretty generic, so I'd typically go with like 11. I'll do, in this case, say 15 cents, 300, and up bid I'll usually do like 3 cents is what I like. And then this guy here, you can take your 63 cents divided by 2 is kind of a good way to do it, and just set that. Hopefully you should convert it that, and that'll set it right at your max bid as well. All right, so that is how you set up your initial skew inputs. And again, these are going to be conservative. This is basically saying that 32 cents is the max for any of the targets that meet this criteria for my skew-based bidding. And this is going to be any single skew structured campaigns where you've just got one skew in there, and anything then that's doing well in this for this skew we'd want to get on the bid override table is the idea. And then we've got a good balance of finding lower cost per click converting targets along with trying to scale up the ones that are already doing well. All right, so you would do the exact same thing if you had skews that are converting higher than 8%, and that would just be using this slide strategy as opposed to this slide strategy. So I'm not going to go over one for this one, but you get the idea. All right, so now let's go over and look at our filter settings. So over on the settings tab, just head over there. You can see by default it's going to be actually set to these same settings. And what you can do now to get some good converting terms on the bid override table is just come up. We can do top targets first. This is going to be our better sellers, and regardless of their conversion rate, and then we'll kind of go back and do our high converting rate targets second. All right, so you can see all these have orders. One other thing I'll do at this stage is click on the orders and do Z to A. And then this just puts it with our top performer at the top. But you can see our ACOS here, for the most part, they're all looking pretty good already. So I would actually say get all of these on the bid override table and start scaling them up. So let's just go ahead and do that. The columns that you want to focus on are these two columns over here. If it's blank in this column, the single skew column, it means it's a multi-skew ad group. That's fine. You can still do overrides at the target level. So I'll show you how to do that. You're basically copying those two columns, going over the bid override table, and in this spot right here, you just come over here, paste values. There's Control-Shift-V is a shortcut, so I'll go ahead and use that shortcut. I'm just going to click once there, Control-Shift-V, and it's going to paste in those two columns worth of data. You see everything shows up in yellow because I haven't assigned any bid inputs yet. You can, at this point, actually go up and sync your metrics, and it's going to bring in for each of these specific targets the actual target level metric. All right, so if you see your campaign budgets come in as 0 and you have blank rows for your data when you go to sync your metrics, it means that your bulk sheet was filtered. So just go back and hit show all. I need to probably automate this so it does it for you, but go back if you see that scenario and just resync the metrics, and it should pull in your accurate campaign budgets like that. And even for the keyword level rows, those should have your metrics. So, oh, you know what? It was because I think they were blank before because I didn't have keyword in there. So you need to paste in the targets and then assign if any of them are blank to the keyword type. All right, and then the idea is you want to set more aggressive bid inputs. So for these, and what I recommend is doubling your at least kind of get an idea on average on what your target ACoS is across your account, and I would usually just set that. It's kind of a default. You don't have to go in SKU by SKU. You can, if you want to do just setting your target ACoS to right at your break even, but I recommend break even for this, but I'm going to just do, because typically mine is on average around 35%. Low bid, I'll keep that the same. Max bid, you want to elevate this much higher than your cost per click, so you give kind of Apex full range to increase your bids. So it looks like 73 cents is going to be my highest. So I'm just going to set it at $1 for this guy. And then your high ACoS threshold. So we can actually go back. I've got a slide on this that you can reference. And high ACoS threshold, we're going to set that to break even. So we're going to say our break even in this case is 35. So we're going to set this to 35. And we still want to give it a little bit of room to optimize. So 25% to 35% is going to mean that it's actually not going to change your bids if the current target is performing in between those ACoS thresholds. But anything less than 25%, we're going to actually increase. And this increase, we're going to set higher on all of these to like 50%. And that's just really going to ramp things up for us. And then we're going to actually just keep the rest pretty well consistent. We can, all of these already have conversions, so these are kind of inapplicable, but more applicable if you're bidding by portfolio or campaign, and you have some that aren't currently converting. So since all these are targets, we're just going to drag these down. All right. And if you ever drag that down and you see the numbers increment by 1, go back to the start and hold in the control key and drag it down, and you should be good. All right, so that's how we actually move some targets over to our bid override table based on what is really performing well currently. Now, what this does not do, because we use the top performing filter, and that was based on an order threshold of 10 orders or more, we still don't know if we have some that have a really high conversion rate that have a good ACoS. So what we can do now is go back up to bulk filters and click our top CVR filter. So I like to just sort this one by orders as well, Z to A. And then you can kind of make some determinations based on exactly how many you've got here. I don't have too many, but again, these are going to be based at the target level. And you can quickly see there's probably going to be some overlap between the top performers and if we had any that had good conversion rates. So we'll just copy all of these then and paste on the bid override table. And these are actually going to show up color coded if there are duplicates, and they're going to be red. So if you look and see kind of where your paste started, you can always go like that and just delete anything that shows up red. And then actually it looks like all these other ones are pretty strong that we can start scaling. Now from the get-go, this is quite a few, I would say, to put on your bid override table. You can definitely do this if you have the budget, but just know all of these aren't going to perform out the gate and scale, but you can at least get them on the bid override table to keep a close eye on them. And then the operating procedure I like to use for the bid override table is between bid optimization sequences, you're just going to come over here and make sure all your metrics, which they'll be synced automatically, but then you're going to come up here and sort your ACoS A to Z, and it's going to kick all the low ACoS at the top and the high at the bottom. Then you can just scroll down and see what's really not scaling well, and you just delete it then off of your bid override table, and it falls back into the SKU dashboard, more conservative bids. So for here, I would just go like this and drag all the way down, and good to go there. Make sure these are all set to keyword. All right, And then one thing I didn't mention that I always like to do is, I don't know where I started. Actually, I can probably tell by conversion rates. Let's see. Orders. It's kind of hard for me to tell where I started. I'll tag these, so I'll just say, greater than 8% CVR. And then you can, actually what I do is for my tags, I'll put T dash like this, and then after the dash is kind of where it came from, which filter, and then I'll tag these. That way I just kind of know, especially if I start to see my conversion rate drop below 8%, I know it's not scaling as well as I would have hoped. And then for these other ones that I pulled in, I would do T dash, maybe like top, because I use the top orders filter. And you can also do, I do P for portfolio, L for launch. On all my launches, I'll do a fixed bid override and just make sure I'm always getting top of search placement. So, but this is the idea: get all the possible, scalable targets that are doing well in some form or fashion on your bid override table, and then you're balancing that out again with more conservative bids on the SKU dashboard. And again, if they start to not scale like you can always just delete them off here and they'll fall back to the more conservative. Over here, I went over in a previous video, is where you can do kind of daily. So like if today's the 11th, I'll do 9/11 there. And then I'll just copy my ACOS column. And sometimes I'll do ACOS plus orders. And then you can just paste that guy, paste the values like that. And then your decimal, you can always change that. But the idea there is you can start to see your metrics hopefully start to go in the right direction. And if they're not, maybe you pull them off, or maybe you tweak some of the settings over here, depending on what you're seeing. So definitely not a fully automated process. It's more of an art, but this is kind of the best of both worlds for optimizing your account and hopefully scaling as quickly as you can with maintaining some balance to your economics. But definitely works well, and it's worked well for quite a few others at this point. So, all right, now I have covered, let's go back to kind of our slides here. We talked about setting these up initially. We talked about how to kind of utilize these for picking off good performing targets, and this can be done throughout the week as well. We just showed how to see if there are targets already on your bid override table very quickly. You can just set your filter, pull all the targets there, and then paste them in. And if it shows up as duplicates, that means it's already on there. If it doesn't show up as duplicates, it means it's new. Went over that. So I think we're in good shape. The only other thing I wanted to really cover was how to use this Stoptimizer with the search term inspector tool. So if we go back, I've already got another video on this, but the Flex system, this is the bulk campaign builder that comes along with APEX. This is how you quickly build out new campaigns, but it's also got the bulk negate tool, which is how you use the Stoptimizer. And the Stoptimizer is going to be really important when we're talking about, let's see, what did I do? Oh, it's in another tab. All right, going back here. So go back and watch the search term inspector tool for how to get it initialized. But once it's initialized, you can go up and hit the Stoptimizer. And this is going to be the weekly operation that you're definitely going to want to do. And your step one is going to go over and make sure you've already not negated these. If they have been negated, they'll be, what type of negation. You can just make sure you're only looking at blanks. All right, and then going over to our to the Flex system, and you can see to bulk negate what you need. You need the search term, you need the campaign, and you need the ad group, and then you manually assign these. So you can clear out your bulk negations if you've already got some in there. But what you're going to actually want to do is just go click the Stoptimizer button, see what shows up, and then what shows up is going to be what's actually getting triggered by these inputs. So you can see they're all based on like 0 converting search terms. So all of these, have 0 orders and they're getting flagged. It looks like most of these are getting flagged for either spend or the clicks threshold. But what you're going to do in your case is start with the search terms, go over to your ad groups, just copy that block of data, take it over to here and Control-Shift-V, and you can see it pastes in the data. There's some duplicates here, but in your case there actually won't be duplicates, I don't believe. I think it's due to the demo data is why there's a lot of duplicates showing up here, because you are going to have different campaign and ad groups for each of these. I've pasted in things wrong, but if you do have duplicates for whatever reason, Control-Shift-Alt and the number 1 will automatically remove those duplicates, and then all you're doing is assigning the appropriate negate type. I like to do for anything other than obviously asins. I typically do negative exact. You can do negative phrase in some scenarios if you want, but asins like these, you would be negative targeting expression. One other thing you can do actually to speed this up even a little more, if I go back to my search term inspector, there's a column for asin and search term. If you sort that, then when you copy over all your data, it'll actually be asins are at the top, so that makes it even a little faster. Control-Shift-V, Control-Shift-Alt-1 if I do have duplicates. The duplicates you'll definitely have when you go to add new keywords, but I don't think you should have them in Stoptimizer. So drag for the asins, just drag down to where those stopped, negative exact where those start, down. And all this is going to do is in these root campaign ad groups, it's going to negate these that are not performing well. So that's going to reduce your wasted ad spend for those. So to add and create your negate file, you're going to go add negate to bulk file and then build bulk negate upload file. And that's going to send it to your Google Drive folder that you specified here. And we've got another video on this, so just go watch that. But then you can upload that to Campaign Manager, and it's just going to iteratively keep negating what should be negated to reduce your wasted ad spend. So that is the concept and how you execute it. As far as your, I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, sorry about that. But as far as adding new campaigns, we've covered that in another video as well, but that's going to be utilizing the same tool. We've also got a new keyword tool coming out that you can use in addition, but this is the best way based on your data and using your search term data from what's converting in other campaigns. But all you'll do is come up here, and once you've initialized search term inspector, click these buttons, and it's going to tell you very quickly what you are converting well in one match type that you aren't already bidding on in another. Pay no attention to these errors. That's just due to the demo data again. But again, the steps here to add new search terms into campaigns that are performing well, you'll want to toggle this total orders, and I like to look at just anything over 3. And then I like to deselect any multi-SKU campaigns. And then what's left is you've got your SKU and your search term is what you're going to need in this case. So we're going to go and copy that column there, and then we're going to head back over to our bulk campaign builder. And this time we essentially want to build out the campaigns. So go watch the other video that I did where you actually are working to get it in this configuration, but it's pretty fast. So what you do is just paste all your data in, Control-V, and then you're going to do Control-Shift-Alt-1, and that's going to remove all the duplicates here. You can see we only have 3. So since these are exact campaigns we're wanting to create, they're not already exact campaigns, it's going to be single keyword campaigns. So you just do ones like that, and then you can copy this block of data, paste special, paste transposed. So you've got everything in the right configuration now. Then it's just going to be going over to your bulk campaign builder. You can actually clear out your bulk campaign builder by hitting delete all there. All right, and then we're going to make 3 exact campaigns. And again, the idea here is you want to be adding campaigns each week to just keep taking your account to the next level. We recommend at least 5 to 10 new ones each week. But again, going back, we'll just take our SKUs. We're going to paste our SKUs in. Control-Shift-V. We're going to paste our keywords in. Control-Shift-V. We're going to actually, since they're single SKU or single keyword campaigns, I like to make my ad group the actual search term. So I'll just do that. And then you want to make a group. I like to make a group for every new campaign, sequence of campaigns I make, and I keep group logs. So if you watch the other video, we called group 1 these initial campaigns. So say if this is group 2, we would say week, the date is 9/11, and you can put a little description here of what you did. But then we're going to go back and we're going to change this to group 2 now. All right, and then all we do is copy our campaign name, so that gives it a unique identifier. And then all we got to do is run down the list. So same thing like we did with the negate file. You're going to add the campaigns to the bulk file. That's going to actually create your bulk file within the Flex system. And then the build campaign upload file will send it to your Google Drive folder. And then you're just going to go back to your campaign manager and upload it. And those are going to generate your new campaigns. And that will satisfy this section here. We do recommend, again, staying with these kind of core campaign structure, all dynamic down only. That just tends to work very well. So I think we've covered, for the most part, kind of a brief walkthrough again of some of these core concepts. Go back and watch some of the other videos that we go into greater detail in those specific videos. And then I guess ending up with, I'll do the Pareto analysis one more time because I think that is important if you do have an account that you really want to get in order very quickly. So quickly to do that, we're going to go back to our file here, and we're going to head over back to the Add Insights tiles, and we're going to change this first Add Insights tile to, we're going to do Add Group Breakdown. All right, so that after that loads, you can see it gives us a pretty slick breakdown of how many ad groups for each SKU we have, and these are all filtered for just enabled ad groups and campaigns. So the one that is blank up here, this is going to be your multi-SKU ad groups, just so you know. But the process here that we're going to want to do to perform this Pareto analysis is just double-click on this total 634, and you'll see that that's going to open us up a static file here that's just going to have essentially all of our data. If I actually click on it, there we go. It's going to have all of our data associated with that summary table that we were just looking at. We're going to hop over to the column V and just single click there on orders and then put a filter on that with that little button right there. And then we're going to click on the filter one time and do Z to A. And then if you click on column V, just click on the letter V, you'll look down there in the bottom right, 1923. So we want to do 1923 times 0.8. And that's going to be about 1,500. And then we just select here and hold in shift and start going down to where that bottom right number changes to 1,500. All right, so we're above 1,500 there. So we can say anything over 7% is kind of our top 20% of converters. So everything under 7 orders is going to be what's not attributing to that 80% of results. So what I recommend doing here on at least every 2 months you can look at this, but I've actually been doing it every month on my account and it's been working very well. What I'll do is I'll actually delete from this static file anything that is doing well that I want to just really not mess with. All right, and then everything else I'll put an ACOS threshold to it. So I'll sort this by ACOS, and then anything over like 40%, let's say, we're gonna say, actually let's do 30%. So down to 30. We want to essentially keep all of the stuff between 30 and 0. So the zeros are going to be the other ones we're going to do away with. So I'll just delete these. So then what we're left with are the high ACOS stuff and the zeros. All right, and you can see spend-wise over the last 30 days, about $1,500. So what we're going to want to do is actually pause all of this. And what we can do is come over here to the, go to the target column, which is right here, AD. And you're just going to Control-Shift down, copy, Control-C, head over to Labs, which is this little beaker, and you're going to go over to the target quicksort, and you're just going to paste, Control-Shift-V, and scroll down to see where this data stopped, because it looks like I had some data in there before. Make sure I didn't overwrite some. Okay, so I've got some extra stuff, so you'll just make sure you can clear it out first to make sure you don't do that. But then we're going to go up and do Labs, Target Quicksort, and we want to see everything that's on that list because we're going to actually pause it in bulk. All right, so there we go. It's basically just filtered our bulk sheet to show us these targets that we want to pause. You can double check it just by like selecting all of them and seeing 1356. Then we go back to our static file and we count, go to the top. You can see 1356, so that's all done right. All right, then we're just going to go up to optimize bids and adjust in bulk, and we're going to do visible status, and that's just going to select the keyword status column, and then we're going to hit pause all. All right, and then there we go. It's paused all of those, so we won't be bidding on them anymore, and hopefully that'll help reduce some of the wasted ad spend that we've been accumulating over the past month, and just again take our performance metrics to a more favorable level. All right, guys, so I think that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully it helped drive home some of these concepts and how you can set them up and start implementing them in your account. If you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and we'll go into more detail with you one-on-one. Thanks.